the privacy war. Apple versus Facebook, the clash of the titans. That's what some writers are calling it. Well, what's it really about and what's going on? Those are the questions I'm going to answer on today's video. So back in, I think it was June, Apple announced iOS 14 at the Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC 2020. And in iOS 14 were all these great features that we now have because they came out in September, but one of them that hasn't come out yet, or that has but hasn't, is allow apps to ask to track. So if you go into settings and then privacy, it's there, but it's grayed. So Apple has this feature all ready to go. All they have to do is push a button and every phone is able to enable this, but they're not doing that yet, right? So the reason for that is that actually what that would do, if you had that enabled, would make it so that when you go into an app, just like how you get a location, like you want to allow locations to be used for this app, a pop-up like that, and then just like notifications, you'll get another pop-up that says ask app not to track, allow or don't allow. So this would make it so that apps wouldn't be allowed to track you across multiple apps. So right now, Facebook and like any app that really wants to, they can view your what you search for, what you look at in different apps in like it's not like they have your screen on, like you don't have stuff on screen, but they're looking for keywords in what you're doing. So that's how you get the stuff like, oh, I looked up on Google the other day, tacos, and then on Instagram I got an ad for tacos. That's weird. That's where a lot of that stuff comes from, is that actually they're tracking you not just in their own app, but across multiple apps. So Facebook is really mad about this. 98.5% of Facebook's revenue comes from advertising. So nothing's free, right? When you get Facebook, you don't have to pay for that, right? There's no Facebook subscription. You're like have to pay to post stuff. Instagram, Facebook, all Google stuff you think is free. It's not. You're paying with your data. So there's this saying that if you're not being sold something, then you're the one being sold. An advertiser might say, I want this is an ad, and I want it to be targeted to people who like pizza, young people, and men. And so then Facebook goes through, like Facebook filters all that stuff out and sends that ad to young men who like pizza, or who seems like they like pizza based on their activity. And so then, and it works really well. Okay, so then you see something that you're interested in, or that you have shown interest in some way, even if you don't even care about it, and then sometimes you will buy it. It is way more effective than a general ad. So a general ad that's not targeted is just like Coca-Cola wants to make an ad, so they're like, here, Facebook, here's an ad, post it, and then Facebook posts it wherever they want, no matter who they're sending it to. Targeted ads are shown to you because of what you're into. So the remaining 1.5% of Facebook's revenue comes from their hardware, like portal devices and whatever else Facebook's doing that hiss in ads. But 98.5% is a lot. That's a lot. Like if you took the ads out of Facebook, they'd basically be done. So if Apple releases this, then users will have they will be able to choose whether they want Facebook to track them, and this would make it so that Facebook doesn't have as much control over people's data, and I assume it would do something for their money. Like they would have less money. Like they'd still be fine because they are worth so much, but like it would make a dent in that 98.5%. So they're really mad about this because they can't collect users' data if this happens. And so they have a line of ads saying, we're standing up to Apple for small businesses everywhere. At Facebook, small businesses are the core of our business. More than 10 million businesses use our advertising tools each month to find new customers, and yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of it, as you can see. And so basically what they're saying here is that if Apple releases this, small businesses won't be able to survive because they can't target ads, which if small businesses, or just businesses in general, because Facebook, let me tell you, and like the amount they care about small businesses compared to what they care about their own business, because they are not a small business, is like they care way more about themselves. So they're just doing this to get you to be against protecting your data in a way. And so it's targeting Apple, saying that Apple would be, if Apple does this, small businesses can't survive, which is partially like they would be able to survive, but like it does give them more money to be able to target ads, because then there's a greater chance that the people who are seeing those ads are going to actually care about those things and buy those things like you want them to. And so then Tim Cook responded on Twitter. He said, "We believe users should have the choice over the data that is being collected about them and how it's used. Facebook can continue to track users across apps and websites as before. App tracking transparency in iOS 14, the feature that I was talking about, will just require that they ask your permission first." So it's a choice. If someone says that apps can track them, then Facebook can track them however much they want, because they said they could. So this is just, you will know when an app wants to track you, and you can prevent that. Now, this doesn't mean that Facebook won't have any control over if they track you or not. They just won't be able to track you like through another app. So what you do on Safari would be safe from Facebook and stuff like that. But they can track you still through Facebook based on what you like, what you look at, and that's just how it is right now, at least. Now, I think most of you are pro your data protection, right? And Apple's whole thing with privacy has been their main advertising or marketing strategy. One of them is by protecting privacy and stuff like that, and they actually do a pretty good job. But they might have ulterior motives. So by making app tracking more difficult, it could be pushing free apps toward making it being paid. So you would have to pay to use Facebook if they can't have any ads at all, say. But again, the feature's not going to make it so they can't have ads at all. And then Apple collects a 30% of all of in-app purchases or whatever, or subscriptions and stuff from the App Store. So when you buy, when you pay $10 a month for a subscription, $3 of that is going to Apple, because they're letting them use their App Store. And this isn't uncommon with app stores. It's just Apple likes to have their control, so they have this. But so that would be one of the reasons Apple might be doing this for ulterior motives. And then also Apple's statements are misleading, because they're making it seem just as much as Facebook is, that Facebook is a villain, but yet what Apple devices are still super secure. They still automatically prevent a bunch of different type of tracking, just because they're Apple and they have so much control. So it's not as bad as they're making it out to be, but it is bad. So obviously I'm pro Facebook, but I'm also here's my take, that I'm definitely against Facebook, and I like Apple, but I don't think any corporation or any company should be allowed to track you or have your data. Apple is going to have, if they do, they will early 2021 roll out this feature on iOS 14. I just kicked my desk. And they will have a lot of control then, and they already have so much control. So it's like, how much control do you also want a corporation having over your privacy? But I would rather be Apple be the one controlling it than Facebook, and we still have a long way to go until we get truly private devices. But there are organizations working on that. So consequences in this battle, there's no way Facebook will win. Okay, Apple doesn't change its mind. It will release the thing. It just held it back because of giving developers more time to prepare, but it will release the feature. And everybody likes privacy. I don't have credit cards or anything on my phone, but I still like my phone being my phone and not having other companies being able to spy in it. And also Apple could lose as well, so Facebook won't win this, but Apple could lose also because they're under a lot of pressure about antitrust stuff from many different countries, and this could be a turning point. So right now we're seeing a lot of interesting stuff going on between Apple, Google, and Facebook with controlling users' data and devices and privacy. So I think the next couple years it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I plan this to be the first part of a series, because I plan to cover what's happening between Apple and Facebook in the privacy war as this goes on. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this long video, but leave a like and a comment because it's always great reading those. See you in the next one.